The Big Life of Your Granddad. Hello, little one. Today, I'm going to tell you a very special story. It's about someone amazing, your granddad. He was your daddy's daddy, and he lived a big, brave, and wonderful life. Let's go back in time, all the way to when Grandad was just a little boy, just like you. Your granddad was born in a place called Bishop Stortford in the year 1920. That's over 100 years ago. Wow! His mummy, your great-grandmother, stayed at home and looked after the family. She made warm meals, swept the floors, and kept the house cozy. His daddy, your great-grandfather, was a blacksmith and a farmer. He worked with big, strong horses and made tools out of metal. He also grew food and looked after animals. Grandad grew up on a farm with chickens that clucked, pigs that snorted, and cows that mooed. He helped feed the animals every morning. He carried buckets of food, scattered grain for the chickens, and even helped clean the pigsty. Yuck. He learned how to fish in the stream behind the barn. He would sit quietly with a fishing rod, hoping to catch a wriggly fish. Sometimes he did, and sometimes he didn't, but he always had fun. He went to a little village school with wooden desks and chalkboards. He wasn't the best at reading or writing, but he was clever in other ways. He could fix things, build things, and he was very kind. He loved climbing trees, chasing butterflies, and helping his dad hammer horseshoes. And every Sunday, the whole family walked to church in their best clothes. They sang songs, listened to stories, and smiled at their neighbors. When Grandad was 15, that's just a teenager, he got his first job. He became a barber's apprentice in a town called Shipley. That means he helped cut people's hair. Every morning, he rode his bicycle all the way to Shipley. It was a long ride, with bumpy roads and chirping birds. He liked the wind in his hair and the sound of the wheels spinning. At the barber shop, he swept the floors, cleaned the combs, and folded towels. He watched the grown-up barbers snip and shave and style. He learned how to use scissors very carefully. Snip, snip, snip. He liked talking to the customers and hearing their stories. Some were funny, some were silly, and some were very wise. And when the day was done, he rode his bike all the way home again, tired but proud. In 1939, something very big happened. A country called Germany invaded another country called Poland. And that started a huge war, World War II. Grandad knew he might be asked to join the army. But instead of waiting, he made a brave choice. He joined a special group called the Grenadier Guards. They wore tall furry hats and shiny buttons. They marched in straight lines and stood very still. Grandad trained hard. He learned how to send secret messages using Morse code, beep, beep, beep. And he even learned a little German. He practiced marching, saluting, and using his equipment. He made friends with other young soldiers, and they helped each other every day. Grandad had some very special jobs. He stood guard outside Windsor Castle. Sometimes, he saw Princess Elizabeth and Princess Margaret playing in the gardens. Princess Elizabeth would grow up to be queen. He also stood guard outside 10 Downing Street. That's where the Prime Minister lives. And he guarded Churchill's War Room, a secret place where big decisions were made. Grandad used to joke, "I could have stopped the Queen and Churchill with my machine gun." But don't worry, he was only joking. He was a very good guard and kept everyone safe. He stood tall and proud, even when it was cold or rainy. He knew his job was important. Later, Grandad became a tank commander. That means he drove a big, noisy tank with other soldiers inside. In 1944, he landed on a beach in France called Sword Beach. It was part of a big plan called Operation Overlord. The plan was to help free France from the bad guys. Grandad's tank rolled onto the beach with a loud rumble. He and his crew were very brave. They fought in a place called Curran, which was supposed to be taken quickly, but it took months. The city of Curran was very important because it had roads and railways. The fighting was very hard, and many buildings were destroyed. But Grandad and his friends kept going. Then they moved on to Belgium and Holland. Grandad was part of a group called 30 Corps. They tried to cross a big bridge in a battle called Operation Market Garden. But it was very hard, and many soldiers got hurt. Grandad was hurt too. Once, his tank hit a mine and he was blown out of it. Another time, his tank caught fire and he had to jump out, and he got shot. But he was very brave and kept going. He helped his friends, followed orders, and never gave up. After the war ended in 1945, Grandad was allowed to come home in 1946. He had married your Nan during the war, using a special army pass to visit her. Now they could finally live together, in peace. Grandad returned to Bishop Stortford and went back to the farm. He worked as a farm laborer, helping with planting, harvesting, and caring for animals. He woke up early, wore muddy boots, and came home smelling of hay and sunshine. Your daddy and your two aunties were born in the village. They were just little babies, so they don't remember much, but Grandad did. He remembered every giggle, every first step, and every sleepy cuddle. He even thought about becoming the landlord of the village pub. He liked talking to people and making them feel welcome. But instead, he chose a different path, one that would help even more people. In 1952, Grandad moved the whole family to Exeter. He got a job in the prison service, working at a place called a borstal. A borstal was a special kind of prison for young boys who had made mistakes. Grandad wore a uniform and carried keys. He walked through long corridors and locked big doors. He was known for being strict, but fair. He believed that everyone deserved a second chance. He helped the boys learn how to behave, how to read, and how to work. He taught them respect and responsibility. But it wasn't always easy. One day, a boy tried to escape. Grandad tried to stop him, and got hurt. He needed time to heal, but he didn't give up. He kept working, kept helping, and kept believing in doing the right thing. Later, Grandad was transferred to Winchester Prison. It was a bigger place, with more grown-up prisoners. He worked there for many years, always doing his best. He lived in a house for prison officers on James Place. It was close to the prison, so he could walk to work. He and Nan made it a warm, happy home. In 1975, Grandad retired. He had worked hard for a long time, and now it was time to rest. He and Nan moved to a new house on Castle Kingdom Way. It had a garden, a greenhouse, and a cozy little room where Grandad liked to read the newspaper. Even in retirement, Grandad stayed busy. He helped your aunt with her laundry and printing business. He folded clothes, fixed machines, and delivered flyers. He helped your mummy and daddy by taking you to school. He held your hand, carried your bag, and made you laugh. He watched you play football on weekends. He cheered from the sidelines, clapped when you scored, and gave you a big hug afterward. He visited your aunt on Casper's Island. He took boat rides, ate ice cream, and told stories by the sea. He visited your great-aunt and uncle at their post office. One day, he cut his hand on a bacon slicer. Ouch! He needed stitches, but he was very brave. He fixed your skateboard when it broke. He tightened the wheels, polished the deck, and made it good as new. Grandad loved telling stories. He told you about the war, about tanks and battles and bravery. He told you about guarding the Queen and Churchill. He told you about helping boys in the borstal and working in the prison. His stories were exciting, sometimes scary, but always full of heart. He made you feel proud, curious, and safe. And maybe, just maybe, his stories helped you decide to learn about rules, fairness, and justice. Maybe that's why you were interested in law, just like Grandad. Your Grandad was a brave man, a kind man, a man who helped others, worked hard, and loved his family very much. He lived through war and peace, through hard times and happy ones. He was strong, gentle, and full of love. And now, you know his story. And one day, maybe you'll tell it too. The end.